Welcome to the expanzPLATFORM How to Build an On-Premise Server video. In this video, we step through the process of building and deploying an on-premise server using an application we created during the video series titled How to Build an expanzPLATFORM Application. In subsequent videos in this series, we'll create an expanzPLATFORM server that runs on Azure, and we'll also step through the unit testing functionality built into the platform. Let's get started. We have Visual Studio 2010 and expanzPLATFORM installed on this computer. To begin, open Visual Studio. Create a new project, select Expanz from the list of installed templates, and from the Expanz submenu, select On-Premise Server and click OK. The Expanz Studio project from previous videos created a .esp file, which stands for Expanz Studio Project. We named the project Sales, so the project file is called sales.esp. We select that file and choose Open. Next, we specify the database connection. Entering a database connection isn't mandatory, but it's convenient to configure that connection here. If you do not have a database yet, the Expanz runtime creates a database for you if you have permission to do so. Let's also choose to generate the entity framework objects and context classes so we can perform link queries. Click OK. Expanz tooling creates scaffolding for your application based on the metadata from the Expanz Studio project. Folders appear in Solution Explorer seen on the right side of the screen, many of which are prepended with ESA, which stands for Expanz Server Architecture. The folders created are an application server, a site manager, a testing project, a web service, and a folder for your application, which in this case is the Sales folder. All our work will be done within the application folder, in this case the Sales folder. Let's take a quick look at that folder. The Sales project consists of a handful of subfolders that make up the elements of our application. The Constants folder houses activity definitions, enabling us to refer to them in code form, and a Messages Constants class that enables us to refer to the application's messages in code as well. Next is the Entity Model Objects folder. expanzPLATFORM leverages the Entity Framework to provide link support for retrieving data. The Entity Framework has its own built-in ORM. For more complex data retrieval, or to avoid learning the Expanz ORM, we can use LINK to gain access to data. The Metadata folder is next. It contains the metadata that was built when working in Expanz Studio. This metadata is the heart of the application and is used at runtime. All objects are instantiated using the model object document, so if it doesn't exist in this document, it won't be available to clients at runtime. Note that you can still access plain old class objects server-side. And then, the model objects folder contains the application's POCO classes, or plain old CLR objects. When we look at the customer model object, we see the fields that we defined, as well as the method we created in Expanz Studio. At the bottom of the folder list, we see that the project also has a config.xml file. This config file can be edited by hand or within Expanz Studio. Let's start the project. It's good to note that the project will start without having to write any further code. The solution instantiates an app server console, a site manager console, and a web service. Upon starting, the app server synchronizes the model objects with database objects and creates a database for the application. At this point, you're ready to build a basic CRUD client that interacts with this fully functional, ready-for-business server-side instance. Your on-premise server is ready for interaction. In the next video, we move seamlessly to the cloud as we step through the process of creating this server on Azure.